Hi, my name is Beyer, and I am a member here at Integrity Church, and I've been coming here since the end of 2014, 2015. So I've lived in Greenville for about 11 years now, and before that, my family's all kind of settled down in the New Bern area, so that's where we call home. So my life before Christ, thinking through that has kind of been a little bit of a challenge for me because growing up, I grew up in the church and would have said that I was saved in first grade. And so it kind of feels like a struggle of like, well, when was my life not with Christ? But what I've realized is I think that I was saved a lot more recently than I realized. And thinking back on when did a change happen, what was my life like before, I think a lot about sin struggles and struggling with lust and struggling with kind of like knowing what I was doing with my sin wasn't good, but just kind of wanting to please myself and not necessarily caring about my sin. And so not wanting to fight sin, and even not having a good grasp of what the gospel was and having more of a works-based mentality, I think would be a good picture of what my life was like before Christ. So growing up, I always would say that I became a believer in first grade at a vacation Bible school that I attended, and that's kind of like what I always said that when I became a believer. I was actually baptized in middle school, but what I've realized over the years was that I think I really didn't come to have a good understanding of the gospel until I was an adult, and actually really integrity played a big role in that. So I think more around the time period of 10, 12 years ago, as an adult, going through some growth in my life, coming and being a part of Integrity Church, I really got to a point where I understood that I'm not saved because of anything that I do. Growing up, I always struggled with, did I do it right? Did I say the prayer right? And I actually prayed the sinner's prayer like probably 10 times growing up. And I think finally as an adult, I got to a point where I realized I don't save myself. God is the one who does the work. And so that is where I can place my confidence. And I remember wrestling with the worry about like, well, when exactly did I get saved? And one of the things that my wife, Evan, has always really encouraged me about is you get to be confident in the end result of knowing that you are saved, and you don't necessarily have to nail down exactly when it happened. So I think for me, Integrity Church played a big role, some mentors and some good godly friends, to where I got to a point where I finally understood the gospel and my salvation is God's work and not my own. So since I've come to understand the gospel and I've seen Christ do a work in my heart, I think the biggest change for me is, one, seeing the truth of what the gospel is and having a heart that understands that, and being able to have the confidence, like, I'm saved because of God's work in my life and his change in my heart, and I don't have to sit and worry, well, did I do the right thing? That's been a big change, to like be able to have confidence in that and not worry about it. But I also think that having a desire to fight sin in my life has been a big difference now versus before. I think in college and in the few years after college was when I really struggled with kind of just doing things for myself, and seeing that transition to where Christ has given me a desire to say like, okay, I want to fight sin, I want to be obedient to Christ, and I want my life to look different. That's where I've seen a change.